All right, it should have said the broadcast is now starting. Did you get that far? Jaylene, this is not cool at all. I'm so glad this didn't happen this morning. All right, Jaylene, I'm hoping you're able to hear me now and that you're seeing what I'm seeing. I'm calling you to check.
Yes, I can hear you.
Well,
Did
praise
you see
him.
what I wrote? Hello?
Oh, and I see, yes, and I see 4 of 11 now, which means we're all on here. Praise him. I apologize. Apparently, there should have been 2 links sent out, and Raekwon got sent kind of emergency to go work at A. Worley Brown. They're down 7 staff. So, yeah, I see you now. So, hello, everybody. Welcome to the webinar. Sorry about the delay. We had some technical issues. I'm at Warren to help because they're short-staffed, and 2 of us are here, 3 of us are at A. Worley Brown, and apparently this was not as easy as it went this morning. It went really well with the businesses. So essentially, we're all just here to it's a super quick webinar to go through what everybody's expectations are. So the employers saw the same exact webinar. As soon as this is over, tomorrow morning, you guys should be getting the recorded version of this in case you need to show it to the teens that aren't there. And you'll also get a slide deck of this webinar, as well as any forms that we look at. Tavari, can you advance to the next slide, please? Because why is this not? Why? Come on. Good. So the role of the employer is the first thing which we went through with the employers, and it essentially is to provide meaningful work experience. This is important when you guys check back in with your kids. It's not to say a teen will never be asked to take out the trash or file something, but that should not be like their job. That's something that, hey, you're working at the bakery, blah, blah, blah. Can you take this bag to the trash? But you learned how to bake during the day and worked at the bakery. Same thing with the law office. We went through that while, menial tasks are part of any job that anybody works, that is not their job. That is just like something they may have to do occasionally. So that's something you want to check in, like what are they doing at their job? How did that go? Have a point of contact for mentorship to the teen. So what's going to happen is when we get to the contract, you'll see the names on there. The point of contact for the work is going to be one specific person that the teen reports to, that if they have any questions, they go to. And then the point of contact for BGCMA is the teen person from their club. So if you're a Draper teen, it's Katari. If you're a Warren teen, it's Derek. Also, if they have to reach out about either saying something great or a concern, they'll reach out to you. You should reach out to them the same way. And then they're supposed to keep accurate records of timed work. Our members are not supposed to work over 30 hours. So they're on a Monday through Thursday schedule. You'll see that is blank on the contracts we sent because some of the teens had like Georgia State, so they agreed to work the weekend or a different shift. So I left that blank based on, you can fill in whatever that grid says. Most of our teens will be working Monday through Thursday, traditional office hours, like 9 to 4, 9 to 5, something like that. But the Highland Bakery kids, there's some differences because they have different shifts. Then they'll also see at the end of this, there'll be a survey to take. And basically what it is the club staff on Fridays needs to call the point of contact and ask these 5 quick questions. 1, it's for the grant, and 2, it's for catching any issues early. The next thing is the role of the club. And the role of the club is I gotta move this over because I can't see it. There we go. To communicate with the member and conduct weekly check-ins. So the same thing on Friday. The teen doesn't have to physically come to the club on Friday. They can if they're working at an off-site, not at the club, but they should make contact with you on Friday. And basically, you're just going to check in. Did it go well? Are they treating you good? Did you have a good time? Were you ever late? Were you ever on time? Was there any issue? And then conduct that survey, that formal survey with the staff. Olivia Wilson's processing paychecks. So essentially, there's no formal thing other than saying they worked 3 days. If they only worked 3 of the 4, they're going to get a prorated amount. If they worked all 4, they get the whole amount. You don't have to keep track of their actual like 9 to 1 to whatever, because it's a stipend, not an hourly wage. The role of the intern, okay, teens, that's you guys. Report to work on time with a good attitude, learn and perform new skills. You also need to keep track because grown-ups make mistakes. So you need to be keeping track. Hey, I worked all 4 days this week, so that when you get paid, it's just a good habit to get into till you're 100 years old. And then communicate regularly with both your mentor at the club and the staff to make sure, hey, is everything good? Am I doing what's expected? Because this can roll into other jobs. It can roll into scholarships. It can roll into other opportunities. You just want to make sure it's clear so that later there's no questions. So steps along the way. So we won't go through everything in super detail that aren't y'all steps, but just know they're here for you. But we walk through the employers. So they have the same exact agreement that we all have. And we'll go through that contract in a minute. They went to their intro training this morning. They've all issued the offers, which is what you have already. They, as soon as all this is over and they get their final paperwork tomorrow, which they'll get, they are going to issue like more of a formal offer to the interns to tell them some very specific requirements. For example, the young man working at DPR needs steel-toed shoes. It's a construction site. Judah working at the bakery does not need steel-toed shoes. They may have a t-shirt and jeans there, but the law firm may have a khakis. The club is going to be a junior staff shirt. So everyone will be communicating expectations, dress codes, and all of that. I have report any concerning behavior or information that can be positive or negative or just anything that comes up. We all have things that happen in life. Ideally, our interns will let the staff know, like if there's an emergency with the home or a health thing, but just in case, we're all touching base together. The club staff is, you're gonna, you guys should, I'm gonna borrow one of y'all's folders if that's okay. Because I'm sitting here with the Warren kids at Warren, yay Warren. So in your folder, you're gonna have things you should go through with them as they sign them, just so that they know what they're doing. It's a good habit. Young people, don't sign stuff you don't read. I bought a car very poorly that way once. But essentially, the first thing is just an offer letter. And if you take this, then you're accepting the offer that was given. So the company made an offer, this accepts the offer. Then the next thing is the contract, which we'll go through in more depth. The last thing is the summer membership application. They do not have to pay a summer membership fee, but we have to have them as a registered member because if somebody got hurt or something, you got to be a registered member. So they, if you already have one, just have someone at the club right across the front already registered for summer, like Judah and Carlos are here. Ms. Gail could just write already registered and put it back in the file and we'll know that. If they are going to be attending to the club and going on field trips, they still need to pay that $10 field trip t-shirt thing, or they can't go on a field trip. So they just have to pay that $10, but that's not really for a membership fee, it's for a t-shirt. You'll have in that folder, staff, a W-9, and this is just, you can't get issued a check without a W-9. This is your information, like your social security and all that for payment. So you want to make sure, like for example, here at Warren, we've got one girl who's not here. She's at cheerleading. So I will be forwarding this slide deck and this webinar information to all of you. So Ms. Gail or Mr. Derek or someone here needs to go through it with the other Warren kids who aren't on this webinar. Also assess the need for transportation. Accenture has already agreed to provide MARTA cards for transportation. Print Pack is willing to help out. Some of the other ones won't. But if you have a member for whom transportation is an issue who cannot afford transportation, let me know. We've set aside some budget for MARTA cards. That includes y'all. And then once again, report any concerning information. And then finally, have fun. So much depth, and then have fun. Internship. So you guys are kind of doing side by side with the club staff. You're going to read and sign all of these papers in these folders. Or not, and that means you just cannot accept these conditions and are refusing the job, which is also your right. Intro training, that's what we're on now. Once you sign this letter, that's the acceptance. If you say I don't, that's this reject your offer. Make sure you review information on that you get in terms of dress code and all that. You don't want to show up at a bakery in a suit. You don't want to show up in a construction site in a suit. If you have any kind of assistance you need, Raekwon Johnson is who we'll be reaching out to with your club to say, hey, we need a MARTA card for this person, or DPR just gave Montavious a stipend to buy steel-toed shoes because they're like $200. So they're buying his shoes for him. So if you find out you need something very specific for your job that you don't have, let us know. And then again, report anything that concerns you, track and make sure you turn in your time. And it doesn't have to be a formal piece of paper. It literally can be a piece of paper that says I worked Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, signed, turn it in. We should have that already from the weekly report that the staff are going to do, but you also should keep track of your own time because people make mistakes. Here are the contact people. Once again, you're getting this slide deck, but if you have any questions, intern, staff, we told the companies the same thing. Here are a bunch of different people. We told the staff this morning from the sites, if you have a member from Draper, you reach out to Katari. If you have a member from Whitehead, you reach out to Jaylene, and so on. So over to the left, you have just the teen services things. Olivia's only real job in this is to process paychecks. So, and you guys are getting two, you're getting one like 2 weeks in and then one at the end. So you'll see it in your contract. You get like $600 and then you get another $600. So, the only time that number would vary is if you didn't go to work or you quit. So if you saw anything but around 600, exactly 600 with no decimals, then you need to report that to Olivia and say, hey, my check's not right, it should be $600. Because there's a bunch of different people getting paid different ways. This particular internship is 2 $600 payments. All right, so now give me a second because I need to pull up this contract. You guys have a physical copy, but it's just helpful to have it here. Just to kind of point out the different places people need to sign or fill out. Teen Services Department is typed, that's us. Internship organization, that's going to be Highland Bakery, Accenture, wherever you particularly are working. And then you're a registered club member. So it's going to say Teen Services. I'm going to use Judah as an example. Teen Services, Highland Bakery, and Judah. That's who's entering this agreement. And this is literally exactly that. It's an agreement that we're saying we're going to provide this, Job's going to provide this, Judah's going to provide this. And so when you get down, basically we're saying that you're a registered member, and you've done career bound, job readiness learning exchange, and job readiness workshops, which you have. I was there. Then the internship description is very, very broad because you're not all in the same types of work. It just basically goes through that whole, it should be meaningful types of experiences. Then this is the part you need to read, section 2. These are your responsibilities. So if you sign this, you're agreeing to work on projects as directed by staff at that internship organization. You agree to report to the internship at the times that they direct you to report there. You agree to follow their policies, including confidentiality, personnel practices, and business protocols. Like Judah, you're a good example again. You're going to be at a bakery. People might pay with a credit card. That credit card is confidential, so you're just going to follow their rules about how they handle credit card numbers and that. Our code of conduct, which means also please don't show up with saggy pants or any of that stuff. You're representing yourself, but you're also representing the organization. And then it says members responsible for his or her own personal transportation. It doesn't mean we won't assist you with a MARTA card if you need it or something. It means there's no Boys and Girls Club bus taking anybody there. You guys are going by private vehicle, by MARTA, or some other way. And then it says that you understand that successful completion is determined by us and that you have to complete all the components, which means you've already done most of them, because most of the components where you had to do the Accenture thing, you had to do workshops, you had to be registered. You've done all but the actual job at this point. The internship organization responsibilities, this is what we spend a lot of time on with them, but basically they have to provide a safe working environment. They have to be the one that gives direction. They are going to put the dates here for them and the hours. Those blanks, they're blank once again because of the difference in the bakery and the bank and the job sites vary a little bit by time. And that's where they'll be signing. And then the bottom one is like BGCMA, that's the club staff. And it says we're responsible, club staff and teen services, for educational and curricular components. That's that workshops and college career bound and Accenture stuff, which we did, assessing your progress. So that means that on that Friday check-in, if somebody says, hey, Carlos Copeland has been late 4 out of 4 days and he's on his cell phone all the time, a club staff can pull you in and say, I don't think you're ready for an outside experience. We're going to have to talk about whether you come work at the club or whether you need to think about maybe not being an intern this summer. For minor things, it's going to be just a discussion. But if you're just straight up not showing up to work, It is the discretion of your mentor at the club or your club staff to go, this isn't working out for them. And it could be for a reason like that, but it also could be a reason like there was an emergency at the house and now this person has had to go stay with a relative. They can't get to that job site anymore. You guys may decide to make a different arrangement, and that is at the discretion of the club. Relationship of the parties you can read, but it basically is just saying, we're not charging anybody to be in this agreement. So we're not taking part of your money for you to be allowed to be in here. We're not taking any of their money. They're paying, you're getting paid directly straight to you. This part, miscellaneous provisions, this is stuff like we have to obey the Civil Rights Act. We can't discriminate based on age, disability, race. That is this whole first paragraph. We all have to comply with sexual misconduct, which means no inappropriate sexual behavior on the job, please. I hope y'all would know not to do that. And then it says that we are not liable for a damage or a loss. And mostly that's about like, I lost my phone at my job, Boys and Girls Club needs to buy me another phone. No, we do not. That one's in there specifically because that's the kind of thing we're not responsible for. This agreement can be changed, but it cannot be changed unless the member, the club staff, and the company agree. So if for some reason, let's say someone gets an opportunity, we've already changed it for the GSU Lift kids. Hey, I have a chance to be in GSU Lift. Can I change it to work Friday, Saturday, and Sunday instead of Monday through Thursday? Highland Bakery agreed, Jaylene agreed, and the kids agreed. That's fine. But all three people have to agree any changes made. So y'all learn about contracts while you're getting a job. Then basically this last page is the signature page. The top piece is signed by the company. The next piece is signed by the club staff. And then the member and the parent sign the bottom. And it says who signs them, so y'all should be able to, and you should take time to go through this with your parents too. Before you ever sign anything, read it, and definitely go through it. So the last piece, which I'm looking for because it was on this morning, let me see if I can just open it because I believe it's already up here. So the last pieces I'll attach, they're not on this one, but there's a pre-survey most of you already took. Do you remember that one that said, why are you interested in being an intern? It's like 5 questions. If you did not take that, I'm sending them to the club staff. Everybody should take it before they go. And it's just, what do you expect from an internship? It is the same exact survey at the end. It's 5 questions long, and it's kind of just saying, did you get what you expected? Did you learn anything? Was it a positive experience? Would you recommend it to somebody else? It's 5 questions. That's part of our grant requirement. Plus, it's just good to know. The last piece is going to be, I will send that out as well, and it's a survey that the youth will not see, only the staff will see it. Because what you're going to do is basically sit on the phone with it either on your phone or in front of your computer. It, once again, is only 5 questions, and it basically, the questions are, how many days did the intern come to work this week? How many days were they on time? Were there any, did they perform according to expectation? If the answer is yes, they skip it. If no, they write down like what went wrong. And then it's, is there any positive feedback you want to give? That's where they could say, hey, this is a great employee, we're great to have them. That's the whole survey. Ideally, staff, that survey should take you under a minute if things are going well, because it'll be like, yeah, how many days did Carlos come? All 4. Was he on time? How many days was he on time? All 4. Did he perform like he was supposed to? Yes, he did. Anything you want to say? Great guy, glad to have him. That survey is done. That's all United Way needs from us. If, however, there's a concern, that is when that Friday check-in with the youth is time to sit down and go, so Carlos, you're late. You were late 2 days this week. You want to tell me why? And he might be, well, the car broke down, and now my mom can't get me there, so my uncle's getting me, and we may need to look at a different transportation situation. If it's, I don't like to get in the morning and I overslept, that's a different conversation. So what we want to do is, if anything doesn't go right, be able to go, is it something we can help you with? Is it you got sent home because you don't have the right kind of shoes? Let's get you the shoes. Or you just straight up like to sleep in the morning and aren't getting up on time. We need to discuss how dedicated you are to your internship. So it really is what those Fridays are for. I'm going to expand this back out. to see if anybody has any questions in my little chat boxy thing. See if that shows up. So all I got is hello from Jaylene. So you guys should have gotten from Anthony today. If not, you'll be getting him in the next 24 hours, a stack of folders. Each folder should have those contents that the kids need. So it should literally have, what are the addresses? I see that. Do you mean of the work sites? So we can get you the specific worksite addresses. We've been waiting for those to come in. The Highland Bakery, it says Midtown. I can Google it. The ones from Accenture, she sent out, I think yesterday or today, but I'll double check on that. I'll make sure that goes out tomorrow with the packet, with the slide deck and everything, the specific addresses. The ones that say club staff, unless it's someone like Xavier who's working at Warren for Teen Tech Camp, if it says club staff, they're being placed to work in the club, but they do not count against your YEP. Your YEPs get paid from a different funding source. So like Jaquez is in here, you're working it here, right? He will work a different schedule and get paid on a different way, and he will have to do those Friday check-ins and those other pieces that the YEPs won't, but you're also getting paid in a different way. So if it says club staff, they're still getting paid through this. But I will send, I see, because we have no addresses, so I will get with Anthony tomorrow and say, hey, or I may just do it myself, because honestly, I'm sending out the packet that has, here's the slide deck, here's a copy of the survey questions in the link, here's a copy of the pre and post surveys in the link. So I'll just go ahead and type up an Excel spreadsheet with addresses, and you can just get it as one email instead of 1,000 different emails. Are there any other questions? I'm pretty excited. The first day of work for most people is June 11th. I know the Accenture kids have a little bit of a different onboarding timeline, but for most everybody, it's June 11th. We don't have to have all this in hand right now. I would get it as soon as possible because Friday is the last day of the club, and then you got to have it in hand before I have to have it before you can show up for work. So I don't know if the first week of camp is when y'all want to do this. So it's really up to you, but they have to be at the office, delivered and signed before anybody goes to their job, if that makes sense, because this is what protects everybody. Katari, Accenture kids. I see Katari's question. Did you get an email that said this one's going to Coca-Cola, this one's going to those different places yet? Because I know that Raekwon got that information last night or today. All right, I'm going to get with Raekwon as soon as I hang up, because I know that Alexis sent that information either last night or this morning that said this one's going to Coca-Cola headquarters. There was a young man interested in hotel management. I cannot remember his name. They found him a spot at the International Hotel Group. And so I know that those spots are done, so I'll make sure that goes out too. Anybody else? Like I said, you can always reach out after this webinar, no problem, but you will get an email with slide deck and all those things. So the Greenberg Trowig kids, in all likelihood, are 9 to 5 kids, but once again, per the webinar, as soon as they sign this paper and say, I accept, that's when Greenberg can reach out and say, this is our dress code and this is our time. But they're a law office, so I would say, I mean, I know they happen to be open like 8 to 5, so it's going to be a very normal work time for the Greenberg kids. The only kids that really have weird times are the bakery kids. Or teens, sorry, y'all aren't kids. And now when this is executed, literally the club staff, as soon as a kid signs I accept, you guys can also, you guys can all start communicating. Like the teens can reach out to their host site, the host site can reach out to the teens, the clubs can reach out, because once you agree, you're all in contract and you're good to go. All right, any last questions before we start packaging all this up to send out everybody these things either tonight or in the morning? The kids should all have hard copies within the next 24 hours, if anyone doesn't have them yet. Alrighty then. Well, thanks for doing this on a busy time. I hope that a lot of your teens got to see it. If not, I hope that you will play them the recorded one when we get that out tomorrow. We're going to upload it like to a YouTube channel so that it doesn't die and go away with this, because it dies on here in 7 days. And have a great night.